Good morning, everyone. We are talking about posthumous marriage tonight. And we said that tonight we're drinking bubble tea. In general, posthumous marriage meaning the marriage between two dead persons, but sometimes it can also mean between the dead one and a live one. The first time I've ever heard of posthumous marriage was by this image. On the early internet, we have this picture circulating around the forums. As you can see, it's a posthumous wedding where the girl looks like her feet is levitating, her eyes look like it's rolling to the back of her head. The guy looks sad and scared. The picture just have, in general, a really scary vibe. The background story of this picture is that the girl is from a rich family. The guy was engaged to the girl before she passed away. After she passed away, the guy ran away. But then the girl's family still chased him back to be the husband. Just like most internet forum pictures, the story behind this image is fake. However, was the act of posthumous marriage real? It certainly is. In Chinese tradition, marriage is very important. If somebody died young before the marriage, it's said that there might be paranormal activities in the household because the ghost is lonely. So in ancient China, when the youngsters died without being married, their family would seek matchmakers to find a girl who's also passed away to marry their son. That's why since the Han Dynasty, there was a full-on supply chain that supports this act. There are ghost matchmakers, wedding conductors, and then wedding supplies. If somebody was looking for a posthumous marriage without a matchmaker, it is said that a common method is for the family to leave a red envelope with money on the side of the road, and if somebody picked it up, that person will be caught and then forcefully married to the dead person. This practice was lessened after the Industrial Revolution. However, it is still seen in China, and sometimes it can be made to the news. In general, wooden caskets are more favored for burial because they are considered more fancy. However, in recent years, concrete caskets are also becoming popular because in part of the country, there's this problem with grave robbery. According to the internet, there has been a present black market for corpse. The price for fresh corpse can sell for about 80,000 yuan, while decomposed bodies can sell for about 50,000 yuan. And then the mummified, bonafide bodies can go for about 20,000 yuan. And even in the black market, the most sought after supplies are somebody who's pretty, well-educated, young, and fresh. For such supplies, the price can go for as high as 150,000 yuan. Now, with such high demand for a fresh corpse, many families would install security cameras around the tomb. Some of them will even hire security guards at night right after burial. The sad thing is that the crime will go beyond just grave robbery. In 2006, northern China, in the rural area, there was a girl, her name is Li. She's about 20 years old, and she's unfortunately mentally challenged. In that region of China, the age of 20 for girls is the perfect age for marriage. So the parents were looking for a husband for this girl. And again, with a common method, they looked for matchmakers. The matchmaker soon successfully found a husband for this girl, and they seem to be happily married. But after a few days, Lee's mom lost contact with her daughter, so she started to look for her, and after a few days she panicked and then she called the police. The police would soon put their lead on the matchmaker. His name is Yang. They found Yang, which very soon he would confess everything. Yang works for a local morgue. He also has many side business like burial supplies, ghost matchmakings, and unfortunately he's also a dealer for corpse. The new husband they found for Li turns out not liking her enough, and soon after the marriage he wanted to get rid of her. It's at this moment one of Yang's clients was looking for a fresh female corpse for posthumous marriage. Unfortunately, Yang decided to make Li part of his business. After confessing to the police, Yang mentioned that Li was nowhere his first victim for the business. There was at least 6 more confirmed murders for this purpose. Just when I thought forced marriage is bad enough, now we have forced posthumous marriage. Another incident happened very recently in 2021. There was this online celebrity, we will call her Kitty as a nickname, who was doing an online stream at the moment, and she was telling her audience that she has been suffering from depression for a long time. Unfortunately though, the audience did not cheer her up. Instead, they criticized her and then tell her to unalive herself. Kitty, having depression and some problems with her boyfriend, and even though right after that she would stop the live stream, she would call an ambulance and went to the hospital, she still lost her life. After her pass, it made to the news as this was a horrible incident. However, it would not be the end of the story. When Kitty's family sent her corpse to the cemetery, her ash was actually stolen by the cemetery staff to be sold in the black market for, again, posthumous marriage purposes. I guess the idea was that Kitty was a pretty girl and she was popular online, so the ask price of her ash would be quite expensive. But again, this is one of the saddest stories I've ever heard recently, because not only was this beautiful girl online bullied into unaliving herself, but also after her passing, she couldn't rest in peace just because somebody went greedy and sold her to the black market. There are no laws in China currently that prevents the act of posthumous marriage. However, there are certain laws that prevent the practice associated to it. Currently, the laws forbid the act of stealing, insulting, and maliciously damaging corpse. The act of buying or selling corpse is also considered illegal. So it seems like that as long as all the stakeholders are willing, and this is not a transactional conduct, posthumous marriage is still considered acceptable in China. According to Wikipedia, outside of China, posthumous marriage is not that common. It was conducted in Europe briefly during wartime. If a widow gave birth to a baby without a father, it would be illegitimate, so they would marry this widow to the dead soldier so that the baby can be legitimized. The practice also occurred in Okinawa, Japan sometimes, under the influence of China. As if somebody was not married, then the family cannot place him or her on the spirit tablets. Remember the image I showed in the beginning of this video? Turns out it was actually the cover of China Geographic's 2002. It was the picture of a normal marriage happened in South China around 1920-ish. It's just a perfect marriage. The girl's feet are on the ground. Her eyes look normal. Everything looked normal. It's just that the traditional costume they were wearing was unfamiliar to the modern kids. And then also, if we look at the low-res picture, the vibe is a little scary. Blurry picture and some made-up story, it would make the perfect urban legend for all the preschool kids. Was there any urban legend you heard as a kid? Please let me know in the comment section.